Good morning. Welcome to, I guess, a bit of a raw thoughts video on our behalf because we've been here in Lisbon for 1 year now, which is crazy to think because time has really just flown by. But we thought it would be a good time to make a bit of an update video about what we think of the whole vibe of being in Europe. Obviously, it's very different from Australia. Like the visa process, what it's been like with work, cost of living, and like what's next for us. Being here for a year, it hasn't quite felt like that because the visa situation did take a long time to settle. Obviously, finding an apartment, all the nitty-gritty. But in a whole, Lisbon for us has been a really fun vibe just because of like the vibrance of living in Europe. Our main goal of moving here was for the travel bug. We wanted to be closer to a lot of different cultures and diverse and easier to access travel opportunities, which has been amazing because you just book a really cheap flight and you're in a different country within an hour, which is just a concept that I haven't quite comprehended from being from such a big country like Australia. So this last year we've really prioritized that over, I guess, income and things, hence it's the whole goal of moving here. As far as Lisbon, we knew it was going to be our city. Like, we're from a coastal town in Australia, the Sunshine Coast, so we didn't want to move to a big grey city like London or Berlin. And Lisbon has got everything we could have wanted as far as the beach in a close proximity. Lisbon feels like a very unorganized and sort of chaotic bunch of little towns. Rather than like a big city to me, it just feels like all the neighborhoods are their own little town and they've just been like pushed together, and I really love that. Obviously the expat community has been nice to settle with as well. The vibrance here has just been so crazy. Like, we've never really experienced too much cultural diversity. Moving here has made me realize that Australia is an island, I guess. Like, obviously we knew that, but it really changes the way life is. I find it really amazing how many different nationalities we come across, how many accents and languages we hear on the day-to-day. And we were the ones with the accents. We were the ones having to slow our English down because of our funny little accents, I guess. And I think that's so amazing because if we didn't move here, we would never have had that sort of cultural understanding of just how small town Australia can feel. We both grew up in the same place. So we were there for like up until our adult years of life. We had our very tight-knit friend group, all of our families from the same place. So with that came the fear of when we move here, it's obviously going to be a very fresh start. Well, for business reasons, but also socially. And it has taken time. I don't know, making new friends is kind of like going on a lot of first dates, right? Like, you have to meet people and really tell your story. And that's been amazing because now, a year in, we've got these friends that are from so many different walks of life, and I've never would have imagined having so much diversity in a friend group and hearing so many stories. And like, it took us a while to settle into jobs. Like, Lach will go over his sort of creative business a bit later, but the first, say, like 6 months here was obviously very exciting, being in a new continent on the other side of the world. But the visa situation, as far as Portugal goes, it's really hard to find information on how to get to the next step of the visa process. So obviously in Australia, we applied for our visa to get us into the country. That was all smooth sailing. We did what we needed to, and we were hooked up with a interview here that's to like gain your residency to actually stay and travel around Europe and stuff. So our appointment was a few months after we arrived, but once we did our appointment, we realized that what everyone sort of talks about, where there's like a lot of discrepancies in the Portuguese, I guess, democracy and just the way things happen, you have to be really patient. So we both had our appointments on the same day at the IMA office for our residency to prove all of our papers, to prove that we're real people. And we had two different people. Lockie's lady seemed to have a bit of a different expectation of what he needed to submit compared to my guy. I had to submit my documents in Portuguese also, which meant that I had to then go away from the appointment, print them all in Portuguese, and then send them back to the office. Whereas Lockie kind of had his all processed then and there. We got our fingerprints done, our photo taken, and had to sign for our residence card. So the next step was just to wait for our residency. So we couldn't leave the country until we gained that full residency. It was expected 90 days to gain our cards, and Lockie got his, I think, just over 3 months, so just after the 90 days. And then we were just like, well, we want to celebrate this, but where's mine? So anyway, fast forward, it was 6 months in total when I got mine, which just shows our appointment was both in Lisbon, same day, same time. Trust the process and allow it to happen. We were trying to go into the IMA office to find updates, but they can't really give you updates. There's a big backlog. That first 6 months was obviously a bit of a stressful long haul because I just felt a bit unsteady, and we almost felt like we couldn't settle so much into life because it didn't feel like we were allowed to be here yet, like it wasn't official. And because it was so stressful with finding information, there was definitely points where I was like, oh, like, is this the right decision? Should we have just lived back in Oz and traveled here? Now we're at a year, we can say, oh, we've got an apartment, we've got a friend group, we've got jobs. Home does obviously feel so far away, but it's so cool to say that we've now got our lives here, that we're not as homesick as we probably originally were. Yeah, like working situations changed when we arrived. We both arrived as digital nomads. Lockie has his own business. I was working as an editing job. You never really know how the work's going to transfer over when you change countries. I ended up getting a few jobs while being here. I'm also an aerial acrobatics coach, and I work as a barista, so I got a little cafe job, which has been great because I can make friends and I have my own little communities. So getting those little part-time jobs has actually really helped me become a part of the community and helped us like build a bit of a network. Hence our YouTube channel starting, because the travel that we're doing here has just been like unlike anything we've ever done, and we want to share it with our family and also to watch it in the future. So we thought we'd take a bunch of cameras everywhere we go. Let's make little YouTube videos. So anyone that's watching them, we're so grateful that you're here. Thank you. It's been really fun for us, and now we're seeing the possibilities of turning us as content creators maybe into more travel opportunities, and that's sort of our goal. Talking about like cost of living, it is a bit more expensive than what we thought. Coming here and talking to other people, we've realized that there has been a big inflation in the prices of apartments, rentals, specifically in Lisbon. The rest of Portugal seems to still have quite a lower sort of stable cost of living, apartment costs, etc. But Lisbon has inflated because of the golden visas, because of a lot of expats, a lot of people coming here with so much money, which makes sense. Like, it's happening all around the world, but the wage here in Lisbon is still quite low, so there is a bit of that conflict of cost of living, wages, etc. We're in like a 1-bedroom apartment in a really beautiful area in like the center of the city, and it's 1,000 euros per month. So for some people that might be expensive, some might be cheap, but we're really lucky where we are, what we have. We've got a really beautiful view around the city and we're comfortable for now. I feel like the groceries and things like that, they seem a lot cheaper than Australia. Obviously Australia is quite an expensive country, but it's all relative. Like, obviously what's cheap here is relative to what you're earning and things like that. So it's really hard to comment on cost of living of things. Most of our bills and things are a lot cheaper than Australia, but we're also earning less, right? So do as you will with that information. Lach will transfer on to talking about his business as a creative, how that transition looks going from being established in one place to moving it to Lisbon. As we know, Lisbon is a very big hub for creative industries and expats.
It's officially a year in Lisbon. For those who don't know, we have a videography business called Maverick Videography, and the first 3 months since being here was super difficult because I had to like pretty much start from scratch. Like, had no clients, had no name here, no one knew who I was. There was a good 3 months there where I had no work. For the most part, I had to constantly put myself out there, going door knocking, pretty much introducing myself to everyone I wanted to work with. A lot of my video clients here have come from like posting regularly on my page, by going to like some networking type of events like run clubs. I found were like the more interesting and fun way to meet new people. Through that, kind of landed like a couple of fun jobs and some really cool opportunities to work with like-minded creatives. Coming from Australia doing videography versus coming to here to Lisbon to do the same job, I've found that it's opened a lot more creative job opportunities, because in Australia it was more so the serious type of like corporate and weddings and stuff like that. Not that I don't love that, it's just like it's opened up a whole nother realm of like creative projects here. Now that we're spending a lot more time with YouTube, it's kind of like sharpening our skills in a way and allowing us to like film what we want to film as well and work with the people that we want to work with. For my 2 cents of, if you're just starting out as a videographer or if you're well established and you're looking for new clients, is don't be afraid to try new things and doing free work from time to time, because yeah, it works. It like builds your portfolio, and it's allowed me to reach different clients, different people, and especially the clients I want to be working for that allow a bit more creativity. Every free job that I've done so far here in Lisbon has landed me at least some interest or another job. Reach out to as many people as possible that you want to be working for. Constantly be up to date with all different filming styles and techniques, because it helps in the long run, you know, staying on top of the game and like building your own niche from that as well. Yeah, that's my my 2 cents. A year update now on Maverick Videography. Currently have 3 to 4 retainer clients, which is awesome. It just means that we have regular stream of income and we don't have to worry about like finding the next client, and it would be nice to start building upon that. And I think for the future goal is to eventually start hiring maybe an editor and then a filmmaker to disperse the workload. First 3 months was a slog, and now we're kind of getting to a safer place where we don't have to worry too much about where the money's coming from, I guess. The last 2 months has been the busiest time in Lisbon for work, which has been really epic. And in that time we filmed really fun projects like a festival here in Lisbon called Ape Fest. We filmed for my mate Ricardo with his architectural business, and we've had some super fun projects like a motorbike rental company working with my close mate there, Vass. Like lots of exciting projects in the mix. I'm super grateful that I've landed jobs because I did a lot of free work and I did a lot of like networking. Like I said, it's super humbling to see where we've come from and where we're going, and it's been super exciting kind of like seeing the growth of my business here in Las Vegas. In between all that, we're trying to spend more time focusing on YouTube videos and trying to create more value in people's lives where we can kind of share our insight into living in Lisbon. So we've talked about the cost of living, we've talked about work related things. So I guess it begs the question, are we happy here? And to answer that question simply, it'd be yes, we love it here. We're not quite ready to leave just yet. Will we be here for another year? Yes, we will. We do miss our family, but we've met some really nice people and we don't want to leave. Our visa doesn't end till about 2026 mid-year, so we have the option to extend it or, you know, go back home. In that year, we're going to make the most of it. That'd be traveling, spending more time with friends, growing the business. We're just going to keep going and having fun with it. I feel like Shan and I can easily say that it's been the best year of our lives. Being able to move to a foreign country, but also it's just like very similar weather, friendly people. It's been fun learning the language, and all the countries that are kind of neighboring to Portugal as well. It's been super nice to just like pick up and grab our bags and just head to Paris if we want to, and it's just like so easy and convenient. So this has been like one of the best experiences for us. We're super excited to kind of continue that journey throughout 2025. We're excited to just be here, living it, and just trying to integrate ourselves as best as we can. So if you guys have any questions for us, please let us know in the comments, because we wish that someone would have said this a year ago and gave us more clarity. Leave a comment down below and we'll answer it the best we can. Hope you guys are well. Thank you so much for supporting our channel, and we're hoping to make more fun videos for you in 2025. Stay tuned.